Welcome to the Patriots Lab, where we ain't even trying to make them liberals mad. Cause freedom of speech is what us individuals have. It's the gift when we gab, talking about things that the brainwash cannot mentally grasp, like staying loud and waving our American flags. This is for the free thinkers, wearing their MAGA and wearing the cags. Draining the swamp is the ultimate goal, but the sheeple will swear it's a fad, like it's just a phrase. But when we show them the facts, the fools got nothing to say. And deep government state wanna get up in our face, but hasn't done it yet cause Trump's in the way, trying to protect us from a troublesome fate. And because of that, we'll never lose our faith, plus God keeping us cool and safe. But I still hope we get 4 more years so we could throw a huge parade. I can see it now, Patriots on a float, and POTUS will go down in history as one of the GOATs for making the swamp pay for taking every one of his votes. His enemies are the cancer, whether or not Trump give him the smoke. Now relax it back and take notes as we kick facts with the homie Ray though. Speak your mind in the Patriots Lab. It's freedom time in the Patriots Lab, where we ain't even trying to, we make them liberals mad. I said speak your mind in the Patriots Lab. It's freedom time in the Patriots Lab, where we not even trying to, we make them liberals mad. I said, speak your mind in the Patriots Lab. It's freedom time in the Patriots Lab, where we're not even trying to, we make them liberals mad. Speak your mind. It's freedom time. Without even trying to, we make them liberals mad.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Good morning, people, patriots, whoever you consider yourself to be. Welcome to a great edition of Morning Coffee. Before we go any further, please make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. Ring the bell so you can get those instant notifications. Let me make sure we are up and running. So, let me see. Do we have everything going? Testing 1 2 1 2 1 2. Okay, we are sitting here just trying to see if I am on. Just trying to see if. Okay, we are good. We are good. Good morning. Welcome. Oh man, get your coffee. Get some eyeballs going up in here. We are live this morning on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X. And where do we begin? So, you know, for the past couple of weeks, I've been following Stephen A. Smith, and I've been listening to the vibes he's been giving off, and liking a lot of what he's been saying lately, and then disliking a little bit of what he's been saying lately. But this is one of the things that I like about him though, because he's one of those brothers to where if he don't know what's going on, he's willing to sit back, get educated, and listen to what people had to say. Let me see if I can pull up this first video. If I have it here, I might not. Yeah, I got it right here. Well, I pulled up a video clip of him and Byron Donaldson, and you know, he gave his perspective on how he saw things coming, but then they got to a point where he really wanted to understand and know the actual and factual. And here's Byron Donaldson. I'm gonna break it down to him. And go ahead and sit back and watch this, and subscribe and share. We're just getting started. Morning Coffee in the Lab. It's Wednesday, all day, fun day.
You supporting Donald Trump at this point? At this point. I'm talking about I'm 4 count. I'm talking about 4 charges, 91 counts. I mean, people are talking about you could be in prison, running a country from prison for crying out loud. Do I think that's gonna happen? Of course, I don't think that's gonna happen. But I'm just saying, how at this point could you possibly support Donald Trump?
Stephen A. can't understand. But well, Stephen A. he does understand. He realizes that all the charges and everything that Trump is going through is just allegations, just bogus shit. So I don't even know why he's asking, but he's got to do it.
First of all, I'll tell you right now, between him and Joe Biden, this isn't even a question. Joe Biden sucks. He's terrible at the job. And we do have to acknowledge that before COVID-19, despite all the circus and the phony investigations, you know, the Russia collusion thing was phony. That's now come out to be proven. Despite all of the distractions and the circus, he actually did the job as president of the United States. Every demographic group was doing well under Donald Trump. Every demographic group was doing well. Our border was secure. There were no foreign wars that anybody was talking about that we were entangled in. Our country was booming. Energy prices were low. We were energy independent, something that every politician had said that they wanted to do. Donald Trump actually was able to make all that stuff happen. Now let's look at the actual charges. Do you mean to tell me that because a president of the United States had classified documents, who, by the way, former presidents still have their security clearance, they still get the daily presidential briefing?
See, he's educating Stephen A right now. See, Stephen A was always going off of talking points and what the left media is always talking about. But Byron Donaldson is breaking down the actual and factual. And you notice you can hear a pin drop. Stephen A ain't saying smack.
That now somehow this is a threat to national security, that is a joke, especially considering the fact that the only way the National Archives could even bring this charge, or excuse me, the FBI and the Department of Justice could bring this charge, is that the White House counsel, who works for Joe Biden, had to allow it. That's one. Two, what's going on in Georgia, I'm sorry, flat out wrong. And every candidate who runs is allowed to challenge election results. Every candidate. It's not some RICO charge. That's insane to me. And then when you take the other two charges, the one in New York, that one is just really, really stupid. And then the last one, this January 6th one.
Okay.
They have no, hold on, this is important, Stephen. I want to lay this out.
Please go ahead.
They have nothing that proves that Donald Trump encouraged, organized, structured anything that happened with January 6th. This is weaponization of the Justice Department against a political rival. And it's flat out wrong. And here's my example for that. Okay. One of my colleagues, Steve Scalise, who was shot at the congressional baseball practice. The shooter said in his manifesto, the reason he went to shoot up the Republican baseball practice is because Bernie Sanders was saying that the Republicans wanted to take away health care, and he felt it was wrong. Are we bringing Bernie Sanders up on charges because Bernie Sanders was using his political speech and it led wrongfully for some knucklehead to come almost kill Steve?
See, but we already know that what's good for them isn't good for us. But we're going to move a little bit further into the conversation Stephen A was having, but with Byron Donaldson, getting a little bit of edumacation, should I say. Y'all go ahead, like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell to get them instant notifications. It's Morning Coffee Wednesday, all day, fun day.
The ability to go back and forth with the National Archives about what material is in a former president's possession, and they do that. I truly believe what happened here is that you had some bureaucrat at the National Archives was basically like, oh, I saw something, let's go in there and get it. They couldn't do it on their own. And so you had to have the White House counsel's office sign off on it because the president, Joe Biden, had to basically revoke Donald Trump's presidential privileges in order to send in the FBI. That's the issue with the documents case.
Okay, so I only got a few minutes left. Let me get to this real quick. I need some quick answers from you.
Yeah, we'll go quick.
4 indictments, 91 counts. Why bother? I mean, if DeSantis was in office.
See, now this is the crutch of the whole thing. This is why he has the 91 indictments on him. This is why they held the impeachment over him and did the impeachment on him. This is why. So then they can come back and say, well, with all of these things hanging over his head, even though he hasn't been convicted of nothing, why bother? And Byron stands his ground. And I love that about him.
if Ramaswamy was in office, if Nikki Haley was in office, if Chris Christie was in office, the list goes on. If you were there, according to how you sound, y'all all would probably vote pretty much identical, or you'd run the country pretty close to how he did it from a policy perspective. Why don't y'all look at it and go like this? Look, man, we appreciate what he's done as president. We liked him. But you know what? This is a bit too much. Let's move forward with somebody else and get rid of all of this noise. Why can't y'all do that?
Well, that's a great question. I think that there are some people who are there, but most of the party, in terms of the voters now, the Republican voters on the ground, they're not there. Mm-hmm. Second thing is that, you know, as a Republican, it's all in vogue now to be a fighter and stand on principle and say no to the media and call them out when they're being ridiculous at a moment's notice. But before Donald Trump, no Republican was doing that. They would all turn tail and run if there was any political pressure or any media pressure whatsoever, because they were more concerned about poll numbers than actually doing the right thing.
So what he's basically pointing out to Stephen A., sorry about the phone call. What he's basically pointing out to Stephen A. is Donald Trump gave the Republican Party a backbone. He finally gave the Republican Party a backbone to stand up and say, you know what? We're not going to be bullied no more by you Democrats. We're not going to just bend over and let you guys just do what you want. We're going to stand up for what we believe in and our conservative values.
Yeah, I think so. Look, in politics, here's what I know, Stephen A. You can't play in politics. You work hard, you do your job, and then you see what happens in front of you. I've seen people try to plan politics. It never works out because something's happening all the time. But, you know, I think there's a lot of people in Florida, in my state, you know, they've come to me, they want me to run. That's something they want me to look at. And for me, Florida, we're the best state in the country. We're the exact opposite of California. And I will say about California, man, that weather, oh my gosh, it's just gorgeous out there. They're still
all right, they're getting into small talk, so I might as well get into small talk. Good morning, people, patriots, whoever you consider yourself to be. I was just showing a clip of Stephen A. And drop your comments. Start the conversation. Make sure you share this. Let them know we're up, we're running. Join the conversation. But you know, at least I can say that Stephen A. is starting to become more aware of the actual and factual of what is actually going on and what is taking place, and not just depending on what the mainstream media and what the left is pushing out there. But there's something else that I've noticed about Stephen A. And we're going to get into this because I noticed that he's been talking more and more in the political arena. And I noticed more and more he's starting to engage with black men. With black men about what's going on with the state of America right now. See, the Democratic Party, they how can I say, they have the black woman vote. And this is just my perspective. They have the black woman vote. They thrive on emotions and getting people wrapped up in their feelings and about how they feel about everything. And they get them to take their eyes off of what actually is beneficial to them. But see, now what is happening is we have black men that are finally realizing, you know what? It's our time to take a stand. We see all of this corruptness and all of these atrocities here at home that are taking place with the illegals that are coming over. See, they understand that they are supposed to be the providers for their family, and they see that being ripped away from them. See, a lot of people need to understand that a lot of us men, we have conservative values. We want the best schools for our kids. We don't want men to be able to compete against women. We don't. The values that we have. We don't want big government. Things of that nature. But let me just. Is Stephen A. rubbing off? Is he encouraging other black men to come and speak out? Because if the right ones come out and speak out, it's a wrap. So it was really surprised when I seen Bubba Chuck, not Bubba Chuck, but Sir Charles. Sorry, Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson is Bubba Chuck.
First of all, the border is a joke. The border is a joke.
Yeah. But with woke culture and everything else that's been going on, you've got folks on the left that have endorsed a more lenient legal system, and obviously folks on the right going crazy about it and calling for law and order.
See, and I'm glad they were able to distinguish that. Folks on the left, they want all kind of crazy shit. Folks on the right, we want law and order.
First of all, we need law and order, Stephen A. If we're gonna,
I agree. I'm with you.
Dude, we need law and order.
If they lose Charles Barkley and Stephen A. Smith, this could be a landslide election. I'm not joking.
Bust up in New York. They got him on camera kicking and beating like cops. They beat up these
two cops, beating up two cops, beating up two police officers.
But they were
in the subway station.
They were out of jail in 24 hours, and the next day.
Actually, it was the same day, Charles.
But 2 days later they called him robbing Macy's. I'm like,
wow.
First of all, they beat up cops. How are you out of jail in 24 hours? And then clearly 2 days later they're robbing Macy's. Anybody, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, a dog, a cat, or a puppy, that's wrong, period.
But it's woke culture. But with woke culture and everything else that's been going on, you've got folks on the left that have endorsed a more lenient legal system, and obviously folks on the right going crazy about it and calling for law and order. Who do you side with, considering our iniquitous history, what's going on today, and who the candidates are in terms of Biden and Trump, in all likelihood, running for office? What do you do, Charles? Who do you vote for?
All right. We're going to get the answer.
So this is what I mean about them riding the fence. They can literally point out all of the devastation that has been taking place over the past couple of years. Now, remind you, we've lived under Trump policies. We know what energy independent feels like. We know what low cost of gas feels like. We know what low mortgage rates feel like. We know what low cost of grocery bills feel like. We know what it feels like. He wasn't the big bad wolf that they said he was going to be. And then we get to taste a little bit of living under the Biden regime, the dictatorship. And you'll find out in a little while in one of the clips while I call him a dictator. We know what it's like. So when they ask a question like that, is there really is the choice not obvious to you? But see, this is what gets me. They'll sit there and they will complain and complain and complain and complain about what the hell is going on. Literally sit there and say, if Biden don't change his ways, they not voting for him. And then in the next breath, they'll tell you they're not voting for Trump. Who's the mystery candidate that's going to come out of the shadows and be this miraculous savior to keep you from either Biden or Trump. So grown men, like the two I just showed, stop playing games with your emotions. You're either in or you're out. Sir Charles, Stephen A., you're either in or you're out. You're going to go to the barbecue and walk around all day dipping your toe in the pool. Eventually, you got to jump in or back up and go get back in a lounge chair. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, ring the bell so you can get them instant notifications. But you can't walk the fence. You can't, on one hand, continue to point out the problem, but yet on the other hand, you refuse, you're going to join the solution. You're either part of the problem or you're going to be part of the solution. Which one is it? And then you sit back and hear him say, well, we got until November. How much more time do y'all want to give Mr. Papar to screw y'all over? How much longer do you give Papar to screw you over? How much more do you guys see? What do you guys see next? What's the deciding factor? What will ultimately make up your mind to let you know that Mr. Tweet Man ain't as bad as they portrayed him out to be? But if you leave it up to this next individual, see, this next individual, he's just plain scared because he's been on the plantation for so long. He is just petrified about getting off. He will point out how lovely freedom looks on the other side, but for some godforsaken reason, he has yet to pull the parachute on him. And I'm talking about no one other than, let me pull him up here. I like calling him Charlemagne, not the God. And check out this little clip. And let me see. Wait a minute. Let me get somebody up out of here real quick. Because like I tell people, I don't do it for you. I do it for me. Yeah, I had my first YouTuber wake up this morning and had to hurry up and ban them out my studio. But we're gonna go ahead and get back to what I was talking about, because this is my show. And for those who do enjoy it, please like, share, subscribe, ring the bell so you can get them instant notifications. But without further ado, let's hit it. Charlemagne, not the God.
And I say that Black conservatives as in Black conservatism as opposed to the MAGA Republicans. I'm not trying to. I'm just talking Black conservatives. What are your thoughts about that?
I don't have a problem with Black conservatives.
Now this is probably some of the most dumbest shit you ever gonna hear come out of somebody's mouth.
I do have a problem with Black MAGA because it feels like MAGA is so against the basic interest of Black people. That's why.
Okay, so he's not against Black conservatives, but he is against Black conservatives that support MAGA. He's against Black conservatives that want to destroy America, but he's not down for Black conservatives that want to make America great again. Let him continue.
Even when President Biden was on Breakfast Club and he said, if you don't know whether to vote for me or Trump, then you ain't black. That didn't insult me because I understood what he was saying.
It didn't insult him because he knew what he was saying. And when he was sitting across from him, you know what he was saying to Charlemagne, not the God? Boy, stay in your place. Stay in your place. Master here. Master is here. Stay in your place, Negro. That's what Charlemagne trying to say.
It bothered me though.
Really?
You know why it bothered me? because he was talking to you.
Yeah.
And you're a brother that has tackled so many issues, and nobody's perfect and nobody's flawless, but you've done a hell of a lot more good than anyone could than anyone has ever given you credit for, as far as I'm concerned. And I respect the hell out of you because of it. It bothered me that he said that to you, because I'm like,
you know why it bothers Stephen A? He ain't gonna tell you the truth, so I'm gonna tell you the actual and factual. Basically, Stephen A said it bothered him because he's like, boy, your master is here. Sit your ass down, shut up. Don't ask me no stupid ass questions like, why is the country in such a terrible place? Don't ask me nothing like that. Just shut up and let's do this interview. That's why Stephen A was pissed off, but let's see what Stephen A's excuse is.
who the hell are you to say something like that? Now, I wouldn't think about what he said as much as him, of all people, saying it, because we just removed it. If we can hold Trump and, you know, as a landlord and as, you know, as an owner, as a homeowner, I was as a landlord more so than anything else in the 70s, if we could hold those things against him, if we can hold Central Park 5 against him, all right, we can certainly hold stuff against Biden from the.
Okay. So, do you see what they go back to hold something against Donald Trump? There is nothing that's actual and factual other than the indictment that they got on him, whatever the talking points are today. But they try to go all the way back to the 70s and because he had a stance in a certain situation on the Central Park 5, and so because he had his opinion and had his choice, that made him a racist. What about all the good he done for black folk? They always want to leave that part out.
In the 90s in the crime bill.
Absolutely.
And so for him
100%.
to be in 2020 saying that to you, trying to absolve himself from all that he did, and like, yo, this ain't the dude you want. You want me, and if you don't know better, you ain't black. That bothered me.
And I think that we got to that statement because of 17 minutes of intense questioning about that, about his record. And I think he was just, you know, flustered. Listen, I don't like making excuses for white people.
Okay. Here you have Charlemagne Not the God spends. Now he's black man, but when it comes to the politics, he spends 99.9% of his time making excuses for the man. He really does. That's all he does, is make excuses for everything they do. He ain't holding nobody accountable, but he always got something bad to say about Donald Trump.
What I mean? But just in that moment, I felt like he was simply saying, if you don't know whether, if you vote for Trump, you're voting against your own interests. So I just.
Now, where does it anywhere say, when he says, if you don't vote for me, you not black, where do you get out of that if you vote for Trump, you're voting for against your best interest? None of that sounds the same to me. Charlemagne Not the God, make it make sense. It don't sound the same to me.
I think when it comes to MAGA in general.
MAGA. See, remember when I was speaking earlier and they said that they got women wrapped up emotionally? Well, they also have a portion of black men that are still so invested in being 100% emotional. MAGA, making America great again. But you see how passionately he had the disdain he has for it. That's why he's not voting in his best interest, because of MAGA. Really?
You're voting against your own interests. But I don't have a problem with tried and true black conservatives, especially when you have conversations with them and you see why they decided they wanted to, you know, vote Republican.
So basically he's saying, I see why black conservatives vote conservative because it makes sense. But as long as you're not part of MAGA, what part of that doesn't make sense? If you vote MAGA, you're voting against your best interest. So lower gas, last time I checked, MAGA was for lower gas prices, lower inflation, secure borders. Shall I go on and on? Having the opportunity to drive your own vehicles and not being forced in electric vehicles, having good education, having the right to choose on the education. What are you talking about, dude? Like I said, scared to jump off that plantation.
It's literally just all about the money. Most of the time.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's literally just about the money. That's why I go back to what I said about Nikki Haley. I feel like Republicans missed a good opportunity to have somebody in a general election who could probably get votes from both sides just because people want the president. And nothing wrong with Walmart. I love Walmart, by the way. But
and you have people, if he were convicted, because it's still possible he can be convicted of a felony, they would still vote for him. And we have nothing in our Constitution that prevents him from running and continuing to run.
So I'm going to keep saying that about Trump, but I'm going to also keep saying about, you know, President Biden and his administration, especially if they're not pivoting, where, like right now, I still don't see the sense of urgency. And I hate when politicians put more on us, the people. They put more weight on us to show up and vote as opposed to putting weight on themselves to give us something to show up and vote for.
So as you can see, he will continue to point out the damage, the hypocrisy, the lack of giving the Democrats a reason why they should vote for these people. But he's still going to vote for them. He's still going to vote for somebody he knows who lied, somebody he knows who tried to set up a president. He's really going to vote for this person. So what does that say about him? Damn sure ain't Charlemagne, whatever he calls himself.
And yet we're here with another presidential election where the only thing they're selling people is fear. Now,
I mean, let him continue. I ain't even going to interrupt his stupid ass no more.
Now, should we be afraid this time? Absolutely. But once again, if this is what you've done every single...
Why should we be afraid? Why should we be afraid? Afraid of what? Afraid of what? Like I said, we seen the first go around. No, y'all should be afraid.
Presidential election since I've been alive, you become the party who cried wolf. And that's what I feel like the Democrats are right now. They're the party who cried wolf. Because now that the wolf is actually there, nobody believes
when
it.
you tell black folks this, they're going to have a problem with you, Charlemagne.
You shouldn't have a problem with me. I have a problem with... I know
they shouldn't.
You should have a problem with that campaign.
I know they shouldn't.
And you
but you know how we can be.
And that's the problem. Stephen A. just pointed it out. You can sit down and you can point out all the actual and factual that you want to some people. And they will still continue to demonize you and tear you down for literally pointing out the truth. Literally pointing out the truth. That's why people don't want to come out and say nothing. That's why I give a little bit of credit to people like Stephen A. That's willing. Okay, you're not gonna go as far as to endorse Trump. I'm cool with that. But damn, I'm just glad that you finally decided to point out all of the issues that you see that's taking place before you. But you know, it's people like Charlemagne, not the God, that just kills me. On one hand, he can say he likes black conservatives, but he doesn't like black conservatives that are part of MAGA, which is the same thing. There's not too many people. There's not too many conservatives today that aren't part of MAGA. But see, you get certain crazy people that don't care about what they say and who they say it about, because they've grown to just hate a man with compassion, with such compassion. Here's another one. A person I used to watch all the time, and now, my goodness, how he insulted me and millions of others is beyond me. But go ahead, Bob, take it away. Tell us how you really feel.
You come at this from a position of not wanting to see Trump get elected. You should state that at the outset. True?
Yes, absolutely. He is by far the most disgraceful figure in modern presidential history. He's only become more disgraceful since 2016 and since 2020. He is a bubbling cauldron of loathsome traits, and it's only those who are actually suffering from Trump derangement syndrome.
So, we have Trump derangement syndrome. You notice this man is on CNN. It is, I'm gonna let him finish.
Which is the way they and Fox News and all the rest of MAGA media try to brush aside all the legitimate criticisms of Trump. You have to be in the throes of some sort of toxic delusion in a toxic cult to believe that Donald Trump has ever been, in any sense, emotionally, psychologically, intellectually, or ethically fit to be president of the United States.
Okay, so we're literally listening to a human being that probably enjoys some of the best economic times of his life when Donald Trump was president. But this is how far they will go to demonize and to tell their viewers Orange Man is bad. And in the process, just, and the hell with it. Almost 200 million people are the same damn way.
But his supporters are locked in on that. There is no cult of Joe Biden. Even, just let me finish this thought, Michael. Even if he had not run explicitly with a pledge that he would be a one-term president, even if halfway through this term, he had said, look, I've done my job. I have some policy successes. I'll continue to do my job. And now the Democrats can get, as I said before, some people up in the bullpen and sort through it.
Okay, Mr. Costas, you're an AH. You really are. It's not surprising, but it's just crazy to me that, first of all, let me address Joe Biden not having a cult following. Joe Biden has no following whatsoever. The only following that Joe Biden has is the nurses that follow his ass around in case he fall down and have a heart attack or some shit like that. And his wife. Those are the only, and half the time she probably ain't following his ass around. She off doing her own thing. But to continually listen to people like this, we really know who the ones with Trump derangement syndrome is. I mean, the ones that can't get over it. Those are the ones. Like, let me show you another one. These Trump derangement people, they just lose it.
God, what have we done? Oh, I'll tell you what we've
Shout out to Black and White Sports.
done. We've spent time trying to decide what flavor ice cream we're going to get. Because there are 10,000 flavors.
Right.
We spend half our lives choosing, trying to make a choice on bullshit. What movie tonight? Let me sit here for a half hour. No bombs going off. And we do nothing. We sit on our couches. Oh, I don't believe in voting. You fucking idiot. If that man gets in, as soon as he takes...
Now she's talking about Trump. Listen to, and let me remind you once again, we've had a taste of what Donald Trump brings to the table. So I'm trying to figure out what these people be talking about.
The oath. He will have generals walk down the steps of the Capitol. He will take a hammer and break the glass where the Constitution is, and he will tear it up in our faces.
Do you hear her? Do you hear her? That this is the same man that was going to get us in all the wars. Who got us in the wars?
And say, now, I'm the king of the fucking world.
Really?
You will bow down, bitches.
That sounds like Joe Biden. That sounds like Papa.
He will punish everybody that didn't vote for him. Let me tell y'all how I know this shit. I know it because I know what mental illness looks like.
Because that's what happens when you look in the mirror every day. When you look in the mirror at yourself every day and you see a deranged person with mental illness looking back at you, you should recognize what mental illness looks like, woman. Because as far as I can see, and maybe it's just me, you seem to be the only one with the mental illness issue. Trump is going to go down with a hammer and smash the glass and take the cup. Are you writing a movie? Are you writing a movie? Because you damn sure ain't seeing or didn't see what I saw. But that's what happens when they're scared. That's what, see, they're really scared of Donald Trump coming back and getting that ass. That's what they're scared of. They're scared of Donald Trump not only coming back, putting the country back on track. Because, oh, don't get it twisted. My man can walk and chew bubble gum and jump rope at the same time. Okay? Don't think, oh no, oh, y'all got it wrong. Oh, he can do a lot of things at the same time. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But they are so scared one of those agendas are gonna be getting retribution back on that ass. That's what they're scared of. They're like, wait a minute, nothing worked. If he comes back, we're done. There's nobody to save us. Lord help us. And we know that that's a far-fetched cry right now. That's a far-fetched cry. But let me switch gears real quick, because it's baffling to me how a president comes out and calls everybody a dictator that he's running against, except him. Now, we know by now that the ones that say that somebody's doing something, they're actually the ones doing it. They're what do you call it? They're projecting. So what they're telling Donald Trump, what they're saying Donald Trump is doing by coming to be a dictator, this is things that they already got in practice. This is things they're already practicing. Listen, Linda. Biden keeps talking about, well, I'm going to cancel student loan debt. For all you people out there, show me a person that got the receipts from having their debt wiped away. Show me a person that has a receipt with a debt, a student loan debt. There's none. This is all a promise. So the first time he tried it, the Supreme Court said you don't have the right to take taxpayers' dollars to pay off student debt. You can't do that because basically the loans just aren't forgiven. Somebody's got to pay for them, and they struck it down. So what does he do? He brings up the same. Let's go back to the B plan once again. He brings it right back up, and it's just gonna get struck down again. You know why? And I'm gonna let this person explain it best. Let me see. Hold on. Sorry, my apologies. Getting back to let her explain it best.
Well, thank you for your question. It's so refreshing to get a question on substance and process, but not responding to whatever. Here's the thing. People think that the President of the United States, is this more on the subject and you ever want to know? Will you let me know? People think that the President of the United States has the power for debt forgiveness. He does not. He can postpone, he can delay.
What?
But he does not have that power. That has to be an act of Congress. And I don't even like to call it forgiveness because that implies a transgression. It's not to be forgiven. Just freeing people from those obligations. So the question of who gets forgiven, to use the term of art that is out there, is a debate. Do we use whatever money there is for the broadest base of support of those with more people with even less debt or fewer people with more debt? That's a policy discussion. But the difference between the president can't do it. So that's not even a discussion. Not everybody realizes that. But the president can only postpone, delay, but not forgive.
And that's following up. What would be the parameter, and what would be fair to those who have incurred major debts, repaid them, or are still working to do so? Yeah. And then, if say something were to go through, say, okay, this group had to pay, and this group.
Yeah, well, there you are. You've described it very well. I do think that what the president is putting forth in Build Back Better in terms of opportunity for all Americans, whether they go to college or not, that they may not even aspire to that, and that's fine. But we do want to give them vocational training or other opportunity so they can reach their fulfillment as well. So this is a broader discussion, but it is.
Well, as you can see, they don't have any type of authority. It has to go through Congress. But like she said, the only thing he can do is delay. All right. Well, hey, I'll see y'all tonight, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. In the meantime, in between time, thank everybody for tuning in. Deuces. I'm out.